Hello, welcome to the first video of PQADAT 01 video. It's a Power Query Advanced Data Analysis Tool 01. Advanced Data Analysis with the Excel Intelligent tool is called Power Query. Power Query is really a good tool. What it does, you can see here on the left side, take the raw data from the multiple files, multiple Excel files, text files, and it goes through from the Power Query tool in Excel, and this Power Query tool gives a very nice output in a proper data set. Power Query, what is doing is taking a raw data sets and converting into a proper data set. Let's check some example. Power Query is kind of a magic tool. If we have an Excel file and we need to import and make a pivot table, no problem. Power Query comes forward and solve the problem. For example, we have a raw data set and all the values combined in a one single cell, like here you can see. Here in this Power Query have no problem to convert this single cell into a multiple column and brings this raw information in a proper data set. Then we can create nice report from this proper data set after importing in a different tool in the Excel sheet, pivot cache, pivot table, or a different data models. So what is the use of function of Power Query? Power Query have four major steps. First, it imports the data from different sources like external data source, text file, folders, Excel workbooks, Excel worksheets, online data sources like SQL, Azure, and etc. After importing the data from different data sources, Power Query make the data clean. How? Like in the data, it remove the blanks, split the columns. If one single cell in a multiple cell, it transpose the data and different ways. It clean the data. After cleaning it data comes the next step of in the Power Query. It called the transformation of data. Transformation of data means it combines the different data files in a one proper data set. One proper data set, we can load this data set. Data comes in the load data set and load this transformation data in Excel worksheets, pivot cache, and pivot data model. Pivot data model is one of the important second tool in the Excel where we can keep more than 2 million records in a one small table. Basically, worksheet have only 1 million row records, but pivot data model providing us a facility, or it's really a nice tool which can keep more than 2 million records inside there. So but we have to know where the Power Query tool exists in our Excel. So let's have a look. Here I'm using currently Office 2019, and previous version I was using Office 2016. In both the version of Excel, Power Query exists in the data ribbon tab. In the data ribbon tab in the 2016 version, it have a different menus. Left side it have a get external data and then get transformation data. But in 2019 appearance has little change, and get data and get transformation all become a one. But if you are using a lower version like 2010 and 13 of MS Excel, then you have to check the Power Query tool because it comes as a computer add-in, and that you have to download from the Microsoft website. Here in this worksheet that is later in the video, you can download from the down in the description. I'm providing a link here, Power Query 2013 and 10. If you click on this link will brings you directly on the Microsoft website. Let's see how it will bring. I will give you an example here. After clicking on the link, it brings you directly on the Microsoft website, and here in the system requirement you have to check your system. So if you are using a Microsoft Office 2010 Professional Plus with the software assurance, then Power Query work in your Excel. And if you have a Microsoft Office 2013, and then I think it will also work with your Excel. So here I think Power Query tool in all the versions exist in the data tab, but appearance will change version to version. I have no idea about Office 365 how it is in that, because I'm not using Office 365. Video we are going to have some exercise about the Power Query. So our aim is to first convert our raw data into proper data set and make a pivot table report. So first what we gonna to do, we have to convert our Excel data into an Excel table in order to get into a Power Query. Then break the product, date, reason and fields into a separate fields and load back into Excel. Make a pivot table report and add the new data and refresh the pivot table. So these are the very simple small steps we are going to do today in this tutorial. So now let's have a look about our data. So we have here our data and it seems a normal table, and you can see here in the description all the values are given in a one single cell. And for this, first we have to bring this data into a table, official table in Excel. How we will make is very simple. Simple shortcut key is called Control T. If you make a Control T, it's open a dialog box called a create table, and it makes sure we have check it my table has headers and click OK. As we click OK, it make our table into official Excel table. Now we have to give this table a particular name. So here we are coming in this table 1 here and giving this table a name called raw data table 1 and hit enter. Now we have our table. So we click anywhere in this table and we can go here in our data ribbon tab, and from table we can bring our data. Or another way is a shortcut key. Shortcut key for the Power Query is called Alt APT. As we click Alt APT, it opens a one separate window. That is a completely separate window and it's called the Power Query Editor. This is called a Power Query Editor. Here you can see, now you can see it's bring a completely data from Excel table to inside a Power Query. On the right side here you can see the properties, and here we have to give the name. It already took a name from the Excel table, and here in the applied steps, what the steps we are going to do in this table to transform the data in a proper data set, all will be get a record here. So let's see. And now we have, and on the left side here in the queries, if we expand this query column, it says here our first table. So if we bring some more queries from more data table from the Excel, all will comes under here in this space. So now we collapse this one again and we convert our data into a proper data set. So let's have a look. So here in the description, we need to separate these all three things here. First is a name, second seems like a date, and third is seems like a product name. So now how we gonna to do, we have to split this column. So splitting a column we can do from a home data ribbon tab. Also here is is called the split column. If we click on the drop down menu, it have by delimiter, by number of character, by position, by lowercase or uppercase, by uppercase to lowercase, digits to non-digit, and non-digit to digit. But here we are going to use the by delimiter. One way is this, and another way we click here and comes down here, and it also gives the same options by delimiter. So we click here by delimiter, it opens a completely separate dialog box. It's called the split column by delimiter. And here we have some options. It's called the colon, comma, equal sign, semicolon, space, tab, and custom. So here we are going to do custom split. And how? So we can see here after Stephanie we have a space and all is a date, and after date we have a forward slash. So first we are splitting our product name from this by giving a forward slash here, and split at what level we have to split. It's called the each occurrence of a delimiter. We choose this option and just click OK, and you can see the magic of Power Query. It split the column on the given delimiter. So as we split here, and you can see on the right side here, it record our one step. Now our second step is again we have to split the name and date. So we give again the split column by the delimiter, and this time we are keeping here space because we have here first space. In split at which space level we have to split? The leftmost delimiter. And by simply we are clicking here, click, and you can see it completely nicely separate the data in the 3 different columns. And here it records only 2 steps. Each step we can go back and check how our data was. So you can see as the source data was like this, second step it was like this, and third step like this. Now comes the main important thing, the headers of this table. So as you can see, we here in the Power Query is very sensitive. So you need to give a completely correct description of your data. So if you click on this small box, it gives all the options like to designate your data, what kind of data you have. So for example, we have a names always exist as a text, so we have to convert into text, and double click here and write name and hit enter. So it convert in a name, and press right key F2, it comes in the description. We write here date, enter, but date are not a text value, so we have to give a right format. It's called the dates here. As we click the dates here, all the figures comes to a right because dates are considered as a number. Press the right arrow key F2, in the description we says the products, hit enter, and again check its format. Products all are in a text. You can see it was giving already ABC, but we confirm again, and now we right arrow key F2, sold quantity is right, but we need to check its format. You can see here somebody when entering it as data in a table put the sold quantities as a whole number, but somewhere it put it in a decimal numbers. You can see here any quantity cannot be in a decimals, so we need here to correct. So all the quantities as a whole number. As we click, you can see data was get nicely in a round figures. So sold quantity is done, and then now comes the amount. Here it's saying amount is also like text and a numeric value. As we click here, and amount is always in a currency format, so we click on a currency format and it make them nicely in a currency, but some are as a complete round and some are have a decimal number. So what we're gonna do, click here, right click here, come into transformation, and transformation have an option called the round, either a round up, round down. So we going to use a round. What decimal place we need the numbers? We say we need after decimal 2 digits only. So we give here 2 and hit OK, and you can see it's nicely convert all the values to a 0.2 decimals. Our data seems really nice and structured. What we gonna to do next, we need to load this data after transformation in our Excel data sheet. We comes to the home tab. In the home tab we have close and load. If we directly hit close and load our data in the Excel worksheet, we have to click here on the drop down menu of close and load. It have 2 options. One is the close and load, it is same as close and load earlier, and second option is the close and load 2. Close and load 2 give us more options. Let's have a look. Close and load 2, one dialog box comes, it called import the data. It have 4 options: table, pivot table report, pivot chart, only create connection, and then where you want this data, on an existing worksheet or a new worksheet. And then comes here as a down data model. Data model, as I've already told you, it have a superpower to have more than 2 million records in it. But for this tutorial we are going to put our data in a table, and we first will make a small connection. So here we just create a connection only and click OK. On the right side you can see it bring us query as a connection only. We need our data. We can go back again in our data model, our data query editor. If we want to change something, we can change here easily and again hit the close and load. So always the query will goes at the same place where it was earlier load. We want our data in an Excel table, so we again make a right click, load to. It open the small box and we click the table this time, and we need the table on a new worksheet and hit OK. As we hit OK, you can see here a very nice table of data is automatically came as a new worksheet. So as it came, we put here the sheet name like a proper data set. Hit enter, and here you can see we have a 342 rows. And now our second task in this to load this data in a nicely pivot table. So here we click, we can go in the insert and a pivot table from here, or next either a shortcut key is called Alt N V. So it automatically brings our raw table, and where we want this data. We want this data on an existing worksheet. Collapse the window, select the location. I will put this data in the front of the table, hit OK. Pivot dialog cache boxes came here, cache, and we have our all the parameters here. What we're gonna have to do, we put the names in a row. So we got all our sales reps here. Next we need like a sold quantities. We have all the sold quantities here. We need the product names. If we put the product names here, it brings like this. So we have all the product names here, and let's have an amount also here. So you can see sold quantities amount, sold quantities amount for all the persons. We have a total amount 512329166. This is in dollars. You can change the format from clicking a right click, number format. In a number format you can go in currency, and how you want decimals and zeros you can give like this. And if you want a dollar sign here, dollar is okay, I will keep it. So we are here and we have a second raw data here, and press the Control Shift down arrow key and Control C to copy this data, and we put this data under our existing data. So here we have a 343 records, and here we copy our data, and you can see as we put this data down there and we just read it here, so we know we refresh this query. So as we refresh this query, it will update our data. You can see from 342 the rows become a 428 as we add the new data. And as we refreshed our table, we have to check how much we have amount now. You can see here all the values are changed in the pivot table also. So this is the Power Query and its power. Once we work it, we have a report. We no need to do again and again, just add the raw data in a structured way and just refresh, and it will give you a nicely report in the end. So here is our first lesson of Power Query. I hope you understand how to use the Power Query tool, how to add raw data in the Power Query, how the Power Query editor performing cleaning the data, splitting the columns after putting it cleaning it data, how to bring data load in the query or a Excel worksheet. After that, Excel worksheet, how we can add a new data source in the existing data and how we refresh it. I hope you understand completely Power Query tool. As the introduction video is this video, and data was really very simple. If you like to improve your skills and want more Power Query videos in the future, please try to consider my channel and hit the bell icon. Thanks for the watching.